I was an economics graduate working in an investment bank with a secure future. Then I was invited to go to Italy to coach a very small volleyball team. It was the last place team in the Italian championship. I was 28 years old. My son, Bruno, was 3 years old. I talked to my mother, and she was very worried like any mother would be about her children's future. She said, "Are you crazy, my son?" I talked to my father, and he said the following, "Is this what you love to do?" I said, "Father, I love sports." And he said, "Then go and do it well, but only come back when it succeeds." Why do you think Serginho tapped Giba's chest? Because Serginho knew Giba could do better. When someone demands from you, it's because they know you can do better. Would you demand from someone you don't believe has the capacity to do it? No, you wouldn't demand if the person didn't have the capacity. You demand because you believe. When they demand from you, it's because they believe in you. So, when you're under pressure, think about that. If they're demanding from you, it's because they believe in you and want you to do better. Who here, over time, hasn't recognized the importance of someone whom at some point you didn't like and thought, "Man, I hated that person, I was angry with them. But if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have made it." Don't be bothered by demands. The world won't always be fair, won't always be easy. And if they're demanding, it's because we have to deal with it and move forward. People do what they do for two reasons. I want to talk about motivation for you. The first pillar of motivation is passion. But don't confuse passion thinking that every day will be a wonderful day. It won't be. And when it's not a wonderful day, the next day you come back because you love doing it. Man, I didn't swim well that day. It was a horrible day, but I love it. I come back the next day because I love the process. Passion drives people. I didn't think of becoming a coach. In the 1980s, few people made a living from sports other than football. I received an invitation to go to Italy to coach a very small volleyball team, which was the last place team in the Italian championship. But I had a passion for sports. I was 29 years old. My son, Bruno, was 3 years old. I talked to my mother, and she was very worried like any mother would be about her children's future. She said, "Are you crazy, my son?" I went to talk to my father, and he turned to me and said the following, "Is this what you love to do?" I said, "Father, I love sports, and I would like to try." And he said, "Then go and do it well, but only come back when it succeeds." But what did my father mean by that? When you face a challenge, it won't always be easy. You'll think about going back, about giving up, and what my father was saying was, don't give up. When you think about going back, stay there. And I only came back when everything worked out. So, in any situation I'm in, the thing that comes to my mind is, just come back when it works out. Success doesn't mean that we will win everything, that's not it. It's doing your best, it's being aware that you've given what you could give. So, that's what we have to try to do all the time, and that was one of his lessons. I talked about passion. People do what they do because they love what they do or because they need to. Need or passion is what drives people. I'm going to mention the story of a boy for you. He was from a very poor family. This boy won out of necessity. Do you know what image I have of him? He would enter to play and train as if he were chasing a plate of food. Volleyball gave him the condition to change his family's life. And when someone around him wasn't giving 100%, he would go to that person and say, "Are you taking the food off my child's plate? Either you play well or I'll have problems at home. So, make sure to give 100%. He became a leader because, regardless of whether it was new leadership or old leadership, the essence of leadership is the same. It's the example. Would you like your children to read more? My question to you is, do you read in front of your children? Oh, you should exercise, but you don't. It's the example. And this boy set an example every day. You're not chosen for a project, for a team, for a job just because of your technical ability. There's an element that is more important than technical ability, and that's will. I don't teach will to an athlete, I train the athlete's fundamentals. If he's good, I can improve him. But will, either he has it or he doesn't. It's will that moves people and really makes the difference. Talent with will becomes Michael Phelps, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. This boy won out of will. But no one does anything in business, in sports, and in life alone. Humans are angels with one wing who need others to fly. No one flies alone or the flight is short. To go further, we need people. In volleyball, the libero doesn't score points. The libero provides conditions. He is support. He represents the team's value. He provides conditions for Giba, for example, to score the point. Team is the most important concept. I attended a lecture one day by some astronauts who, every morning when they wake up in space, have to do an analysis. They wake up every day one way or another. Either you wake up feeling very well, ready to help someone, or you wake up needing help. There are days when you're not well, you need help. That's how things happen. Team. And the culture of our team is based on 3 pillars. First, integrity. If you believe a lot in that person and trust them, you accept their demands. Second, team. The most important name isn't the one that comes first. It's the team. The whole is much greater than the sum of individualities. You may be taller, you may be slower, it doesn't matter. It would be unthinkable to achieve something alone. Third, extreme training. Nothing replaces preparation, study, training. The more I know about my market, my product, my service, the more capable I am, the more I train, the luckier I am. This is a principle of our team. The other team may have more talent, but they can't be more dedicated. We imagine that we control many things in our lives. You control how much talent you have. I can't sing well, I might improve a little, but I'll never be a great singer. But you control how much effort, dedication you put into the process. Coming an hour early depends on what? Studying an extra hour depends on what? Resting and eating well depends on whom? Oh, but I don't want to train too much. There's no problem, but you won't train with me. It's a misalignment of values. For us, this is a value and there's no negotiation. Training a lot doesn't mean training more than you should. It means being present, being dedicated during training because there are some very important elements, which are the 2 main virtues of human beings. The first of them is humility. Show humility when there's a victory, an achievement, a big project succeeds. Look out the window and say, if it weren't for him, for her, we wouldn't have achieved this great victory. And when it's a defeat, a setback, a project that didn't work out, where does he look? In the mirror. What could I have done differently? And the easiest thing to do nowadays is always to point the finger and blame someone else. The second main virtue for me is courage. Courage isn't about the absence of fear. Courage is knowing how to deal with our fears. Despite our fears, we do what needs to be done. Who has never read on the internet? If you're afraid, go anyway. I say to you, don't go. Are you prepared? Have you studied? Go with fear because fear will be there, but go prepared. The only way to deal with fear, with apprehension, is to be prepared. It's like facing a test. The test is difficult. Are you afraid? I read this, I studied this, I'll go. And the courage to do what is right, not what is convenient. Who has never postponed a decision, avoided doing something because they were afraid? Is that the right thing to do? Then do it. You have to know how to deal with frustration because it will happen. Do you sit and cry, or do you get up and move forward and learn? And to learn from a defeat, the first thing to do is to take responsibility. Did you get a low grade on the test? It's not the teacher's fault. You have some responsibility. If you don't take that on, you'll never really learn, you'll always blame someone else. Take responsibility. And my conclusion is this: remember one thing, a winner is just a loser who tried one more time.